So I've been thinking a lot about this comment that Becca Scoops shared with us from Discord. Now, I don't know if this is a private Discord or if this is in the CTW. I don't know where Christy and Gypsy are commenting in Discord because I really don't go on Discord that much. But Puffy, I'm still waiting on that link. No, but the thing that I want to point out is that Gypsy Manson is very calculated and she knows commenting something like this is going to get people talking. And she doesn't care if it's at the expense of her mothering skills or her daughter, baby A. Because people are instantly going to think, well, why is your child crying so much, right? That's what entered my mind. I mean, obviously she's a baby and they do cry a lot, but that's where the mind tends to go. And I just don't want you guys to fall for it. Leave the baby out of it. Don't let Gypsy bait you into talking about her child, right? And in my opinion, this goes back to her narcissistic ways. She treats her body like an item the same way that she treats her child. If it's going to get people talking, she doesn't care as long as she remains in the spotlight and the topic of discussion. I would also like to point out that a lot of my opinions are based on research founded in psychology. I've always had an interest in psychology, psychiatry, psychopaths, and narcissists. Another thing that is very surprising is that people, when you're opposition to somebody that they support, they immediately assume that all the information that you're putting out is unfounded, and that's just not the case. But I do want to read some of this information when it comes to narcissists having children and using them for their own personal gain and why they do it. Firstly, narcissists have children to secure a lifelong captive source of admiration, attention, and control known as narcissistic supply. They often view children not as separate individuals, but as extensions of themselves or mini-me's who exist to fulfill the parents' emotional needs, enhance their public image, and serve as pawns in their personal agendas. I say it all the time to a lot of narcissistic parents. Their children are items to them and not beings. And she could be doing this unconsciously and not even knowing it, but I don't think that's the case. They frequently have children to serve selfish, often unconscious needs rather than a desire to nurture. Key motivations include a perfect audience. Children provide an easily accessible captive source of validation and attention that never leaves. Image enhancement is a really big one. Children are often used as trophies to project a perfect family facade to the outside world, enhancing the narcissist's reputation. Bingo, bango. And when you have looked into so many true crime cases involving children, when you hear that your neighbors are reporting that a child is crying a lot, your red flags go up because I see so many children that are left by themselves time and time again. Now, I'm not saying that this is what Gypsy is doing. I'm just saying why my mind thinks the way that it does. All roads lead back to control. Narcissists crave dominance, and a child provides a blank slate that can be trained and manipulated, unlike an adult partner who might challenge them. The good parent narrative. Many narcissists seek to prove they are better than their own parents, or they use the savior narrative to fix their own traumatic, lonely childhoods by creating a perfect child. It's sad, really. It's really, really sad. As a tool for security, a lot of people was saying this when Gypsy first announced her pregnancy. Children are often had to lock in a partner, trapping them in the relationship to feel normal, keeping up with peers, or to ensure someone takes care of them in their old age. Now let's talk about how these narcissists use their children. Children are expected to be doormats or reflections of the parent. If they develop their own personalities or talents, the narcissist may become jealous, competitive, or devaluing. The golden child versus the scapegoat child. You see this a lot in these cases with children. There's a scapegoat child that is, meant to live in the closet, barely get any food. It happens time and time again. I don't know that the scapegoat child portion really applies to the Gypsy Manson scenario as of late, so let's move on. As far as weapons and divorce, there's no marriage there. So moving on, performative parenting. They might only show interest in children in public or on social media, taking photos, taking them to activities while neglecting, insulting, or abandoning them in private. Very similar to the Amber and Josh Sinkler case that we've been going over in my live. Amber Sinkler made all these posts letting the world know that they were the picture perfect family, and behind the scenes, atrocious things were happening to those children. The last two things this mentions is servants and supply and exploitation of talents. Children are often forced to serve the parent, and then children will also take credit for the child's good grades or awards, bragging about their prized cow. A lot of my videos are based on my own personal opinions. And when somebody makes themselves a prolonged public figure, we are allowed to have those. But I want to hear from the people. Why do you think, and I'm not talking to Team No Baby, for the people that think there is a baby, why do you think Gypsy decided to have a child?